Welcome to Labor Day edition of Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and friends. We are Boomer Esiason days away from opening day here in Cincinnati, man.
Seven
is the number.
I was thinking about that. By this time next week, we'll be celebrating the first win of the 2020 season, and Joe will be 1-0.
I'll still be down in the parking lot, maybe having a few coldies at this point. Yeah, 4 o'clock game. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. So real quick, everybody, I know we have a lot of new viewers tuning in. We got a really big show tonight, a ton of stuff packed into an hour, so we're going to get rolling here. But James, obviously on the screen here from Brownsburg, Indiana, in our weekly Where's Jamie At in Canada episode now, is he's from Elbow, Saskatchewan.
Elbow, nice. I love it. Never heard of it.
Don't know. Okay. All right, guys, we got a lot of stuff to get through here today. Let's going down the lineup here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to do a great History 101 segment. Tom Justin will be dialing in. We're going to do the top 3 opening days in Cincinnati football history. We have an absolute Cincinnati Bengal icon, Reggie Williams, on here. We should get him on about 8:20-ish, 8:25, something like that. We're very excited to have Reggie. Question of the week we're going to dig into here in a minute. Really good one, having to do with a 53-man roster. And guys, let's kind of go down the list here. Let's start off, kick off, James, talking about the Ken Anderson Alliance.
Yeah, we announced that great giveaway. 3 Ken Anderson items we're going to be giving away. An Augustana signed jersey.
Hold on.
A helmet, as Jimmy has there, the old school Bengals helmet.
The pumpkin head.
And the football.
Got it right here.
You can make a simple donation as low as $14. You can do 5 for whatever it is, 10 for whatever it is. 100% of these proceeds go to our friends at the Ken Anderson Alliance. Jamie will share the link. We'll also put it. It's also on our social media. A great partner. Kenny and the group are gracious to give us those 3 items to give away. One person's going to take all those home. We're going to announce it at halftime of the Bengals game Sunday, live from the lot there, where we're going to do the drive-in tailgate. One thing to keep in mind, you do not need to be present to win. So you can be across the pond. You can be in England. You can be in Ireland. You can be in Mexico. You do not need to be present to win. If you win, we will ship you the items. And again, 100% of those proceeds go to the Ken Anderson Alliance. Everybody's been so gracious. We did the jersey, about 10 episodes ago, raised a great amount of money for that. Everybody's been great. Again, 100% of the proceeds to the Ken Anderson Alliance. One winner will take those 3 items. That's the first time I've seen a Ken Anderson Augustana jersey. So that's going to be a pretty unique prize. Also, everybody's been pretty active typing in the chat room already. Do me a favor, type in the city and state where you're watching from now. We're going to tie that into a prize winner a little bit later in the show. So wherever you're watching from, Cincinnati, Ohio, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Kamloops, British Columbia, type that into the chat now on whatever social media you're watching. There's going to be a winner a little bit later in the show. As always, we want to welcome our friends from Houday Nation, part of the show. And this is the last Sunday night show at 8 p.m. Next Sunday, remember, we're going to go live from the tailgate at noon Eastern with our buddy Kenny Anderson kicking that off. And then after next Sunday, starting Tuesday night, September 15th, will be our first Tuesday night show. We briefly touched on that last week, that once football season starts, we're going to switch to Tuesday night. So just if you're marking your calendar, we'll see you in the tailgate lot next Sunday at noon to 1. We're going to do next Sunday show. And then from there, starting Tuesday, September 15th, we're going to go live 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. So I think I just jammed a lot in there. Jamie, you got anything you want to add?
Is my connection okay? Are you guys seeing me all right?
God bless Jamie. He had to turn off his Vegas Knights playoff hockey game because he was
I was about to watch the puck drop in 4K here, guys. I turned it off for you. So we have a good connection.
We made him cut it off. So
if anyone in the chat's watching the game want to keep me updated on the score, I'd appreciate it. We got fans from all over here, guys. Like a lot of Ohio. We got California. I can't even keep up. They're all coming in here. Middle pin.
So it's funny. So what we're going to tie in
Ontario.
Yeah, there you go. So we are going to have bourbon with Craig towards the end of the show, and we'll have a little secret how we're going to decide who the winner is here in a little bit at the end of the show. But this is the bourbon and cigar with Craig show. So Craig's going to give away a couple Joe Burrow rolled cigars, the same cigars that he smoked, same brand, same company that rolled those cigars that he smoked during the championship game. And we'll announce that at the end of the show. Craig's going to announce that for us at the end of the show. Real quick, again, I want to hit on that Ken Anderson Alliance link will be in the chat area. We're going to throw it up there every so often. Guys, it's important to understand the struggles with a lot of these charities right now. The big bulk of their revenue and the donations come in when they do events with people. Well, with the COVID and not being able to do the big giant events, they're relying on us to help them with this. So as of probably 5 o'clock today, we had 97 raffles sold at $850, and that's only a couple days period of time, guys. So let's, we're really trying to pump the money through there for those guys to help out the Ken Anderson line. It really helps out a lot of local adults with disabilities in our area. So keep pushing, keep helping. And also the show that's being kicked off, the 12 o'clock show on the 13th next Sunday in our parking lot, Ken Anderson is going to call in to kick off that show for us. Okay. So Kenny will be dialing in. We got a couple other surprise guests. We got people from all over the country and all over the world that will be dialing in with their own little tailgates during that show for us as well. So also, let's dig in a little bit. Every year we work with Dell Hall. Dell Hall is I'm assuming Dell's in the room right now, Jamie.
Hold on, I just had to send him the link. So
I texted to him earlier, so that's all right. No big deal.
Everyone's typing all the cities we're from, and Dell's like, "Can someone send me the link, please?"
Our production crew, our high-paid assistants must have forgot to do that.
By the fans, for the fans. By the fans, for the fans.
Well, before we get Dell on, a couple other quick things. So, hey, our podcast is up and rolling, guys. The podcast is up and rolling. We got the first 10 episodes. It's on Podbean. So we have the first 10 episodes up. We're working on the last 7 episodes. We have been overwhelmed with requests for that. So the podcast is up and rolling. It's the shows that we've been doing since day one. So have fun participating in that. That's good stuff. Also, some other things going on. So today was a fun event on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube for our friends, Bengal UK folks. Paul and all the diehard Bengal fans across the pond had their first virtual show today via YouTube. So it was kind of fun watching those guys today. I told them we talk about it today. They did a great video, becoming a Bengal, growing the Bengal network and Houday Nation over in UK. So it was a really fun thing to watch.
Hey, this is cool here from Logi 513 on Periscope. So we're broadcasting this week now on our Twitter page through Periscope. So this guy's watching here says, "I'm currently in a charity fantasy football league where if I win, the Ken Anderson Alliance gets $1,000.
You go, Logi. Logi's a really good dude, man. Logi's a class dude, man. That's awesome stuff.
Nice.
And I know we're going to get into the tailgate a little bit more discussion on the tailgate, but also Rebecca Kovac. Oh, there's Dell.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, guys?
I see you got your new hat, man. It looks good.
Dude, look at that. I'm like part of the Flat Build gang now.
So introduce everybody here to Dell Hall. Dell is the owner of 16 Lot Brewery here in Cincinnati. And every year, Dell's with us down to tailgate and a beer connoisseur. So Dell, take a minute or so. Just tell us about 16 Lots and what you guys have planned. I think you're on mute right now. So
yeah, I'm just gonna reverb. Go ahead, Dell.
There we go. Hey, hey everybody. So yeah, I'm Dell Hall. I'm co-owner of 16 Lots Brewing Company here in Cincinnati. Everybody probably from the tailgate knows me as Dell from 50 West Brewing Company. So that was actually in the past. So COVID hit and kind of my career took a change. So right after kind of like the initial COVID world kind of started reopening, I reevaluated what I needed to do and put my name out there and wanted to take more of a role especially an ownership role in a brewery in Cincinnati. And 16 Lots came to me with an offer I couldn't refuse. So the official announcement is right now that 16 Lots is the official craft beer sponsor of Bengal Gyms before the Roar. So just like we did with 50 West, bringing a lot of good quality beer to the tailgate for everyone to sample, I will be doing the same thing this year with the drive-in experience, and I'm really looking forward to next week. We're a lot smaller than 50 West, and my goal is to eventually get us to that point where we are as large or maybe larger than 50 West, and you all, especially our tailgate family, can help with that. So I'm excited to share my beer with you guys next Sunday, and I hope you guys all enjoy it.
Del, man, we appreciate you. Love you, buddy. We can't wait. We're going to figure out somehow to do the Delphies this year at our drive-in tailgate. So if you've ever been to a tailgate and you've experienced the Delphies, we're going to do that again this year for sure. Del, we appreciate having you, buddy.
Dude, look, Delphies are an easy thing to do, socially distanced, right?
Yeah.
You guys have seen my Delphi stick. It's huge. So look, I'm going to walk around. I'll walk around. We'll have DJ James play the Delphi song. We'll go around and take pictures of each parking spot with a Delphi. We'll post those on social media later so everybody can be involved. And, that's probably the most socially responsible thing you're going to see.
That's right, brother. That's right. But yeah, we appreciate it, buddy. Thanks again, man. We love you, big dog.
Awesome. Love you guys.
Appreciate it.
Man.
Awesome. We appreciate Del. Great addition to the tailgate. Now, Del was like a free agent. You experienced free agency last year, signed with a new team, a new beer, and excited to have him on board. So 16 Lots coming on board for the 2020 season. Can't wait. Appreciate him and all the hard work he does.
Yep. So let's one more thing we'll hit on, then we're going to get into our History 101 segment here. I want to make sure that everybody knows about Rebecca Toback on Twitter. I don't know if she's on Facebook or anywhere else, but they're doing a virtual fan tailgate party across the world at 3:00 next Sunday. So we're doing ours from 12 to 1 in the parking lot. We're gonna kind of tie into her tailgate, a virtual tailgate as well next Sunday. So she's awesome. Make sure you sign up for that. We're going to be involved in that as well from the drive-in tailgate, and just make sure you kind of register that. There's a link in there for you to check in on, or if not, go ahead and check it on Twitter and look at the link and look at the details. So have fun with that, man. We're going to have fun next Sunday. It's going to be a fun day. That's for sure.
Hey, one quick thing. Do we want to, Jamie, can you drop the question of the week real quick before we get into the History 101? Not to put you on the spot here. But the question of the week here, we're going to do this real quick. We appreciate everyone's interaction. Obviously, yesterday was cut down day where we got down to the 53-man roster. Typically every year, there's that surprise shot or, oh, wow, that guy made the team. We didn't see a lot of movement on the free agency market with the Bengals claiming anybody except one player, the guard from the Dolphins. But let's hear your comments on who was your biggest surprise player that made the team or your biggest surprise player that cut the team. Obviously, as fans, a little harder, no access to training camp this year to go in and see. I'm going to start real quick. And with the depth of the linebackers, the amount of linebackers that we drafted this year, mine was Jordan Evans. Honestly, I think he may have been the 53rd man that the Bengals cut or kept on the roster. Mine was Jordan Evans as the surprise player that made the team, again, with bringing in 3 new linebackers. The other things we did in free agency. That was mine. Jamie, do you have a player that was either surprise made it or cut?
Yeah, so surprise made it. So I have a new candidate now. So my candidate before used to be Cody Core. It would drive me crazy every time I'd see him on the 53. Now it's Bobby Hart, and I think a lot of fans agree with me on that one.
He's our best right tackle right now, guys. He really is.
Jeff says Bobby Hart.
All right, Jimmy, let's hear yours.
I don't have any surprises. I really don't. I mean, if there was a slight surprise, he just had an awful camp, was Jake Delagala. I mean, he had an awful camp. He really did. It was so bad. he didn't make the damn team. So it's not a surprise. But going into the season, though, going into training camp, I didn't think this would be an issue for him making his team, but it obviously wasn't. The thing that's interesting about it too is, the Bengals just picked up off waivers the Deion Calhoun kid, a guard from the Dolphins, who would have been picked back up if he made it through the waivers by the Dolphins and put on the practice squad. But the thing that was interesting, I think I read on James Rapine's article today from Sports Illustrated that there was only 17 waivers made, claims made this year, which is half of what it normally is. And really the bottom line is, guys, because of no preseason, the teams are sticking with their guys, and that's pretty much what's going on there. So it was interesting. Just interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Steve, James Rapine also did a really cool article about how the Bengals should pick up Josh Rosen. And I guess Zach Taylor shot that down pretty quick. I thought that'd be a good addition, to be honest with you.
We got the only ginger left on the team. Now that our main ginger genius is now in Dallas. So, he knows the system was here last year, obviously a 4th-round pick in 2019 draft. But that's what we're rolling with 2 quarterbacks. Hopefully, Ryan Finley will never see the field. Joe stays healthy and has a great rookie year. But we're kind of moving along fast tonight. We have a lot to get to. Our history 101 segment is perfect as it leads up to opening day. And Jimmy, I'll let you take that and go.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, is Tom in the room? So we're going to go ahead and skip it if he's not in the room.
All right.
I'll tell you what. And is Reggie in the room yet?
Not yet.
Okay, he said he'd be in about 8:20, 8:15, 8:20-ish, somewhere around there. So
we got some people in the chat. Luke says Alex Redmond was my surprise. Thankfully, that was rectified today.
Yep.
Brian says glad Rosen gets to study under Aaron's. It's better for him. Oh, see, I didn't even see that I didn't even see that Tampa signed him.
Yeah.
Yep. They did.
That just happened today. I didn't even see it.
Yep.
Week for Tampa also signed Leonard Fournette, which shocked me that Jacksonville couldn't get anything for former top 10 pick. So that was a bit shocking. But the other thing, Mixon's contract signed this week. So that's something we haven't touched on yet. We all discussed, hoping for a hometown discount. I think the numbers thrown out were 4 years, $48 million. If you look at the fine print, it's like $8 million the first year, and then incentives and the signing bonus and all that. But I think majority of Bengals fans are proud and happy that Joe's resigned. No doubt that he's glad to be back and look for an exciting, 5 years ahead with the 28 wearing Bengal stripes.
So maybe that headache might have been contract related. I don't know. They're working out the fine print. He said, "I'll have a headache until we get it."
We had the perfect question of the week last week. I think we nailed
it. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly that headache went away.
Well, really, the biggest surprise in the NFL of roster, Joe Burrow made the team, guys.
Yeah,
made the team.
It was close. I hear it was close.
Yeah.
You put that tweet out there, and you probably gave like 90% of Bengals fans a heart attack.
Yeah, only like some of the stuff's not real serious, but yeah, I got a couple direct messages. Are you serious? When did this happen? I'm like, whoa.
So while we're waiting for the Bengals 101, Chris is asking, what did you guys think about some fans talking on chat about Sanu since he was released? I'm going to say this really quickly. If you guys, again, our friends at Who Dey Nation, I put a kind of a joke post up the other day. I think you saw it, James, where it's like anytime a player gets cut from any team, Bengals fans are like, sign him, let's get him, let's pick him up.
Yeah.
So it just seeing a couple names floating by that, it sounds great, but then if you look at the depth of our roster, we don't need a lot of these guys.
I think, I appreciated Mohamed Sanu's time here. I think he was a 3rd-round draft pick out of Rutgers. Had a great year, and then, ended up getting the contract for the Falcons when he left. What was probably more shocking was, New England, I think, gave up a 2nd-rounder to trade for him last year.
Yep.
In a handful of games, and now he's on the street. I think a high character guy, certainly not a burner, more of that slot receiver type. Maybe if the old regime with Marvin was here, maybe they would bring him back in. I don't think Zach Taylor or any of those guys have any connection to him. So that's probably why you wasn't even in consideration. But, it's speaking of receivers, it's going to be an interesting year for John Ross. Make or break it, and obviously didn't get the fifth-year extension. We saw two quarterbacks get big contracts in that same class this year, with Deshaun Watson getting that big payday, and hopefully we're 5 years from now and doing the same for Joe Burrow. But Sanu, honestly, not shocked. Great character guy. Wish him the best. He'll land somewhere, and is what he is, and appreciated his time here in Cincinnati.
Now, are you guys watching Hard Knocks? I think I've asked this before. Are you guys watching it all?
I have not seen an episode.
So they're doing the two LA teams this year. So it's interesting though, because the Chargers are getting ready, obviously, for their week 1 opponent, which is us. So it's pretty cool to watch and to see how they're preparing, and they're following along with Joe Burrow's progress and everything like that.
Hey Jamie, real quick, I'm getting a message right now from Reggie. Can you send me the link again via text, if that's okay?
Yeah, no problem.
So we want to. Craig's not in the weight room yet, is he?
Not yet. So what I was getting at with that, guys, is obviously being a fan of the Bengals. I'm also, obviously a fan of football. There's some other guys around the league that you like to see do well. Is that only me? Tyrod Taylor is one of those guys for me. I like Tyrod Taylor. I think I want to see him do well, but obviously not in week number 1. I just think the guy hasn't gotten a fair shake. Is there any players like that on other teams that you kind of wish well? You're not cheering for them, obviously, but you just kind of hope that they do good.
The only connections I have for other teams are ex-Syracuse players, which had a undrafted kid wide receiver make the Rams run, which was pretty cool. So I think there was also another stat, talk about the 53-man roster. I don't know if it was true after what happened today, but every draft pick made NFL team this year for the first time, which I thought was an interesting stat. Kind of goes back to what Jimmy said a little bit earlier, having the guys in-house, knowing what you have, and kind of sticking with it. We did see Oakland trade the Kentucky former quarterback that they were trying to convert to running back, drafted him in 3rd round, traded him to Miami for a 4th round, and paid his contract to get him gone. But it definitely was an interesting offseason, and we're seeing that continue here through the 53-man.
Hey, Jamie, can you text it to me? For some reason, the link is not going through properly for these guys. I'm not sure why.
I just sent it to you. Yes, people in the chat are asking if we're waiting for Reggie Williams to come on, and yes, we are. So we're just going to get him with the link, and then we've also got our History 101 segment coming up here, guys. Just hang tight with it. You know what, James? It doesn't surprise me that all the rookies made it with the lack of the preseason games going on right now. Like, you almost sort of have your roster set. Like, again, watching the Hard Knocks episodes, they're talking a lot about that. Coach Lynn with the Chargers talking about how, it's too bad a lot of these guys aren't going to get a shot to make a team. There's some guys that come in and, play lights out in a preseason game that didn't really have a strong camp, and it kind of gives you a chance to maybe Hunter Renfro from Oakland, right? Not really a strong camp, but then the guy comes in and Reggie's in the waiting room. Jimmy, you want to?
Yeah, let's bring him home. Let's go.
All right, here we go, Mr. Williams.
Reg, what's up, big dog? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Jim?
Man, life's good, man. Sorry for the little issues there, man. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining us. So Reg, we got a lot of folks who know who you are. We got a lot of young people, Reggie, who need to know about Reggie Williams, the best linebacker in Cincinnati Bengal history. So give them a quick background. We got a lot of stuff to dig into with Reggie. 1976 3rd-round draft pick out of Dartmouth. 1976 all-rookie team. 1985 Byron Whizzer White Award winner, humanitarian services. 86 Walter Payton Man of the Year. 87 Co-Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated. College Football Hall of Fame. It goes on and on and on. We have a great football player and a great human being on the screen here with us today. Reggie played for the Bengals for 14 years, from 76 to 89, played in both Super Bowls, number 2 on the team in Bengals history in tackles, number 1 in fumble recoveries for the team in the history, 4th all-time sack leader in Cincinnati Bengal history with 62.5 sacks, as a linebacker, not even a DN or D lineman in any way, shape, or form. But it's special to have some of our Bengal OGs on, Reg, and we're happy to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Well, it's wonderful to be on and see all of this black and orange. I don't see this color combination here in Florida too much.
Well, Red, I know, hey, we got half an hour, 35, 40 minutes with you here, but I want to start off with something interesting. I didn't know as I was kind of preparing for the show today. I saw an old interview that you had, but you grew up in Flint, Michigan, and you wanted to be a Michigan Wolverine. And Bo Schembechler said something to you that I couldn't believe. What was that situation with Bo when he came to your high school?
He came to my high school, and with my high school coach in attendance, Dar Christensen, he told me that I wasn't good enough to be a Wolverine, and if I chose to come to University of Michigan to do him a favor and not to come out for the team, because I had already earned a full academic scholarship to Michigan. So it was just a question of him allowing me to be a walk-on. I would have been happy to just run through the tunnel at the big house one day, but once he told me that, and my father was willing to get an extra job in order to pay for the extra cost that it would cost to go to Dartmouth versus Michigan, because Dartmouth doesn't have any athletic scholarships. But my father was really willing to go to bat for me, so to speak, and I had a chance to prove Bo Schembechler wrong. And quite honestly, to his credit, years later, I saw him again, and I told him, "Remember me?" And he said, "Hey, we all make mistakes," and we shook hands, and that's the end of it.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't hear that part of the story. That's a great finish to that story, because I was about to light up Michigan, so I was just like, wait a minute. So that's a good story. So you go from high school, and Bo Schembechler says you're not good enough. You wind up going to Dartmouth, and tell our viewers, we got a ton of people online right now, Reggie, on Facebook and YouTube watching. Tell the story about this is in the early 70s. And a black man coming into Dartmouth, you were one of the few that were playing football there. You had some issues with some of your teammates, and coach stepped up and did something there that I thought was very interesting.
Well, when I went to Dartmouth, I knew no one there. No one from Flint, Michigan had gone to Dartmouth. I was by myself, and I remember going into the locker room and getting my gear. And there were a couple of players that saw me come into the locker room, and they were white players, and they got all of upset and say, hey, we're not going to locker, we're not going to shower with a black guy. And this is 1972, just 4 years after Martin Luther King was assassinated. So that gives you a flavor of the racial hostilities that existed in the United States at that time, and that my admission to an Ivy League school was also part of this national movement to provide more academic and educational opportunities for all of the citizens in the United States. But after these players were upset about me being in their locker room, they went to the training room to get moved, and the head coach heard about it, and he made me the honorary captain, the permanent captain, after my performance that day, when I had to hit one of those players in such a way that they decided to quit the team. And I earned a nickname for the rest of my Dartmouth career, and that nickname was Boomer.
So the coach doing that sent a message, man. I love it, man. I heard that story previously, and I wanted, and there's a lot of people right now watching, Reggie, that didn't get a chance to hear that story. So we appreciate you sharing that with us. So we've got a lot of film clips here, Reg, and some of them aren't very long, but man, there's so I think you've seen some of the things on the show before. We're going to play clip one, Jamie, and we're going to have Reggie make a comment about this particular clip. This is 1976. This is Reggie's rookie year in the NFL.
Well, no, this one right here is not.
This is 70s. Yeah, I got it. Go ahead and play it. Go ahead and play it.
You can play it. This particular play is an interception, and Greg Pruitt is going to twist my leg, and this is the knee injury that pretty much started me on the road toward problem. This is going through a screen, trying to keep contained in an all-out manner. I mean, who flies like that?
Superman.
Superman does fly like that. But it allowed Jimmy LeClaire to come over and tackle Greg Pruitt from behind.
All right. So Reg, back up. I'm sorry. That clip went fairly quickly. So that first clip, we're going to get into some discussion about the knee and stuff later, but that first clip, he kind of twisted your knee, right?
Well, yeah. And what happened on that play was that the Cleveland Browns had run that play back to back. And when you run a play back to back, that is insulting. This is still the breaking up a screen, so to speak, in an unusual athletic way, all out playing.
Hey, Jamie, you can take the video down. So the first part of that clip was you getting an interception and you getting tackled and he twisted your knee, correct?
Correct.
And that was when? 77, 70, when was that? Later?
That would have been 1979.
Okay.
And that led me to, that was my last play of that season. I went to Centinela Hospital for my first cartilage operation. And at that time, the medical technology was such that there wasn't arthroscopic surgery. So Dr. Job opened up my whole knee, took out all of my cartilage, and that left me for the rest of my playing career playing bone on bone. If I had had the technology of arthroscopic surgeries, then I would have had less damage on my knee and probably wouldn't have been had to suffer through 4 knee replacements thus far.
Yeah. So the second part of that clip, I mean, you had to be 8 feet off the ground going over 2 pulling offensive linemen on that play. Reg, what the hell were you thinking, buddy?
I was an all-out player. You know, I wasn't saving myself for the prom when I was in the NFL trying to win a world championship. I had done that the first time, though, my senior year at Dartmouth. It was against Pennsylvania. And at that time, there were 3 offensive linemen up front. And I'm sure as I was running as hard as I could, they expected me to barrel into 1, 2, or all 3 of them. They all sort of went down like, oh, bracing for that contact. And I went over them and almost got the ball carrier then. On the one that you see, I do hit Greg Pruitt's leg. I just couldn't grab it. It would have been a spectacular flying tackle. And what you also notice if you walk, run it back again, whenever you do see the clip again, is that I'm coming into the screen at the very end. So that I hit the ground and immediately rolled up and was able to get on my feet and chase the ball carrier down.
So speaking of Superman, we got another clip. Jamie, play clip number 4 for me here real quick. No sound on this clip either, but watch this clip too. Reggie didn't play around. Watch this.
Yeah. This is my first game against the Steel Curtain in Pittsburgh, and I'm gonna jump over Rocky Blyer, do a 360-degree helicopter and assist on the sack of Terry Bradshaw.
Rewind that.
Yeah, right there.
Hold on. He was giving you a ride to the quarterback, man. Come on.
Hey, the reason I did it at the last moment is because I really had a lot of respect for Rocky Blyer. He was a Vietnam vet. He was playing with some injuries that occurred while I was over in Vietnam. I didn't have the heart to just pound him, and so all of a sudden at the last minute, I just jumped and I realized I was on top of his head and I kept my balance and I landed on one foot. And that's because I took ballet classes at Dartmouth.
We're finding out now, Reg. See, I didn't know that. That's great. That's great stuff. So we got another clip. Sorry, I found too many clips, guys. I had to share these. I was going back through Bengal history the last few days, kind of getting things together for this. 1977, Reggie's first NFL touchdown here, interception touchdown.
Yes. And as this turns out to be, this became my only interception touchdown in the NFL. It's my second year against Zorn.
Yep.
And I remember this ball just seemed to flutter, had to stay in bounds, and it's just flying up the sideline. And once I got to the end zone, I didn't know what to do. I mean, at that time, touchdown celebrations didn't exist. So, that was it. And that was, I scored 2 other touchdowns in my Cincinnati Bengals career with fumble recoveries.
Yep.
And I had 2 safeties during my career. So I ended up scoring, I think, somewhere around 20 points.
Well, Reg, we had the clock on you. That was a 4.340 going down the sideline, brother.
It could have been because I was flying. I was so excited. It wasn't a big play in the game, though. We were already up 21-0. So it really just sealed the victory.
Anytime the Seahawks, that was a good game. That was a good game. All right, so I heard a story you telling in 1981. Go to Detroit. We lose the Super Bowl. Great game. I wish we could do over again. We should have won that game. But we're going to play a quick clip here, Reggie. And then after we're done with the clip, I'm going to ask you a question about it. So, Jamie, go ahead and play clip number 3 if you could.
All right, I think that's a good idea. Next year, we want to invite all you people to Pasadena.
So Reg, you guys lost the Super Bowl, and it is freezing out downtown Cincinnati. There are tens and thousands of fans everywhere. Talk about the drive from the airport back to the stadium, back to your hotels and stuff.
Well, as soon as we got on, I think 275 coming out of the airport, as our buses were caravanning towards Fountain Square, we found out once we got on the bus, because so many fans had assembled at Fountain Square, that as we were driving down the highway, almost every single car stopped, went to the side of the highway, and the people would get out of the car and wave, and wave, and wave, car after car, car after car, as we then entered I-75, now headed north towards Cincinnati. And as you're just winding around the hills and more people on the road, you don't even know who they are, they're just clapping. And then when we got to Fountain Square, as far as you can see, our loyal fans were there. They weren't shivering, even though it was still cold. It was below 0 temperatures. And I had a chance to speak after Forrest Gregg, and that was the only time I ever made a guarantee that we were going to go back to the Super Bowl and we were going to win it. And so in my book, which we'll be talking about later, there is a picture of me on that moment in front of that fantastic crowd of some of the best fans in the world that were rooting for us the day after we lost the first Super Bowl. You have to understand, that first Super Bowl, we were losing 20-0 at halftime. And we stormed back in the second half and only lost by 5 points. So those 5 points are something that, we thought about when we lost by 4 points just a few years later in Super Bowl 23.
Yeah, I had never heard the story. I knew the story about the Fountain Square, but you guys driving and people pulling over, and that is just a really cool story here. To the city just, that was an unbelievable year in the city. I was 10 years old at the time, but I just remember that like it was yesterday. Man, how special a year that was for you guys. So let's move on to Super Bowl 23, Reg. I don't have any video clips here. I could have pulled up a bunch of other clips here, but that was your 13th year in the league, I think, something like that, 1988. You led the team in the Super Bowl in tackles. You had a sack. You had a few pass defense. Dude, you weren't a young spring chicken anymore, Reg, in the Super Bowl in 1988, and you were balling out.
Plus, I was a Cincinnati city councilman.
Yep, that's true.
And that particular Super Bowl, there was a riot in Overtown. And so all of a sudden we could see fires outside the windows of our hotel on Biscayne Bay. And so that was also the Super Bowl the night before the game where Stanley Wilson took an untimely departure from our team because of some illegal drug use the night before the game, which was discovered. And boy, what a sad night that was. Sam Weiss came down crying, telling us that wasn't going to play, telling us that Stanley wasn't going to play. And so when we actually played that game, and I am the only player on the defense who is playing, and actually was even on the team in the Super Bowl 16 game, I was determined that we were not going to lose to the 49ers. And you talk about what a great game I had. It probably was the best game of my career. The one thing that I talk about in my book, that the very end of the game, on that last drive, when the San Francisco 49ers had just had a holding penalty, and there was now 2nd and 20, Dick LeBeau pulls me out of the game and changed the defense. And from the sidelines, I watched the drive. I watched in horror everything that I had fought for, everything that I had promised in that first Super Bowl in Fountain Square just dissipate right before your very eyes. And, you couldn't say anything, to Dick LeBeau. I had so much respect for him. I wasn't going to go to the media and complain. I was going to retire if we won. If we had won, I never would have left Cincinnati. There's no way. And if I never would have left Cincinnati, then ESPN Wide World of Sports never would have been built. And if that would have happened, then the NBA would not be playing, probably.
That's right.
So there's a lot of things that happened because we lost, but I would trade all of those things that happened for 35 less seconds in Super Bowl 20, or a chance for me to be on the field. That became one of my worst nightmares after I retired, because there's nothing you can do about it now. Yet I would have dreams that I was on the field and I made a big play and we did win the game, and the confetti and the hugs were so real and I was so happy. And then you wake up and realize, no, you really lost. And it's a nightmare. So, those are the kinds of sort of analogies I'm trying to bring the game to life, through my memoir. But I'm also trying to bring to light, the emotional somersaults that the pursuit of a championship ring will create in your psyche. And so for me, we had so many great fans. We came close to winning 2 Super Bowls. And we're on the eve of a new season, and no one knows what's going to happen. But both Super Bowl seasons that we went to before, the previous years were horrible. We went to Super Bowls, the 4-12, 4-12, 6-10 Super Bowl, and the year before Super Bowl 23, it was 6-10 and 4-11 and Super Bowl. So I wish, this team nothing but the best of success. I think they've got a great quarterback in Burrows. And I think I love his leadership. I think him really identifying with the whole team, black players on the team, white players on the team. That's a leadership quality that will go a long ways for a lot of players, protecting him in the pocket.
Yep, we talked a little bit about that last week, Reg. Yeah, it's great. And what's crazy too, Reggie, we've had over the past 17, 18 weeks, we've had a lot of your former teammates on, and I text most all of them, Reg, and I can't read all the responses I got. I just picked a few of them out. But you obviously earned a lot of respect for the guys you played with. Gary Burley, says, great guy, no nonsense linebacker, hardest hitter I've ever seen on the field. Ross Browner sent me a lot of stuff, but I'll just kind of pick a few things. Call you guys thunder and lightning. Nothing got by the right side with you and Ross and Ken Riley. You guys are the best of the best. Ken Anderson, great guy, love him. He learned to be a politic. Learn how to deal with politicians. Playing politics in the locker room, something to that effect. But man, it's really cool to hear that some of those guys. Every one of these guys sent something to me, Reg, about you. And we got a lot of other stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on in the chat areas. We're going to pop up some questions out here in just a second. But I do want to talk about the book, man. I've got mine on pre-order, Reg. I've already did that. The book. Talk about the book that you did. It's called Resilient by Nature. It's going to be a must for all Bengal fans. And we're going to share the link on the screen here for people to be able to order that tonight, Reggie.
Yes, I'm really happy about the memoir that I was able to put together. It's in collaboration with USA Today NFL beat writer Jared Bell, who's been a beat writer there since 1993. And the foreword is written by Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawk most valuable player. The story with Russell Wilson is that I went to Dartmouth College and was best friends with his father, Harry B. Wilson, who was a wide receiver on the football team, an all Ivy League wide receiver, and also a baseball player, just like Russell. And so the book really details a lot of my life all the way from Flint, where I was born hearing impaired, and to my time at Dartmouth, to Cincinnati, and now, being very proud of ESPN Wide World of Sports. I was hired by Disney in 1993 and was very excited to put that vision of the ultimate competition location in the world where everyone can compete to be the best in the world, to be a world champion. And if you lost, you were still at the happiest place on earth.
Hey, Reggie, I have a question about that, the Disney thing, what you did after your NFL career. I hosted, I want to say one of the first youth auto racing events there back in the early 2000s. But if you can back up and tell us how that whole concept came together for the youth facility at the Wide World of Sports. As you mentioned, it's, everybody knows the importance of Disney and the attraction to that. But adding this youth sports element, a whole nother level. Obviously, you mentioned earlier now the NBA bubble. Can you give us a little background on how that whole program came together?
It really came together in the beginning in a conversation with Michael Eisner. I was having lunch with a Dartmouth classmate named Michael Montgomery, who was the treasurer of the company by then. And I was talking to him about sponsorships for the first NFL Youth Education Town, which was a multifaceted, educational and safe place for the most at-risk kids in Compton. And I built that at the site, and because of the Rodney King riots. And so I'm having lunch, and Michael Eisner comes over to the table, and they had just bought the Mighty Ducks. He says to me, look, we have all this land at Walt Disney World, and we're thinking about getting into the sports business. What would you do? And I was like, well, I have an answer. And I gave him an answer, which sort of followed some of my happiest sporting experience, which go through high school. And what was unique about Flint, Michigan, was that all the high schools in Flint at that time had a central stadium called Atwood. And so it was a central place in the city for all the teams to meet and compete. And my thought was, we need a place in the United States where everyone from every state can meet to compete in whatever sport drives you passionately, and do it in a way that is authentic and will treat you in a first-class manner. Because one of the caveats about Wide World of Sports is built for kids. And so kids playing in the same facilities as the world's best athletes, that was the special connection that makes it one of the most special sports complexes in the world.
Definitely a first-class facility. We appreciate that. I had no idea, Reggie, you were involved in that, and obviously Michael Eisner and his history with Disney speaks for itself. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jamie, can you let's go ahead and I got something we're going to close with, but go ahead. I know there's several questions in here for Reggie that people want to ask.
Well,
Sure. First thing I want to put up before we put a question, Jeff says, the night we win it all, I will think about you guys, Reg. You're going to be a huge part of it. Thought that was a pretty nice sentiment.
Yep.
Here, we got a question from Periscope here. How much discipline did Forrest Gregg bring the team when he was hired?
It was almost immediate. And in large part because he was such polar opposites of the coach that he was replacing, Homer Rice. And Homer, from Georgia Tech at the time, was very intellectual. He was sort of a small, diminutive coach, but he was someone that I got along real well with. But a lot of players didn't really respect him and sort of talked behind his back a little bit in terms of his more intellectual leadership than his stern leadership. And so when Forrest came in, he not only was a very stern, focused, Hall of Famer, he still had that immense size that gave him this intimidating property. And he really didn't mess with the defense. He let Hank Buller run our defense. And then after that, obviously when Hank left, that's where Dick LeBeau achieved some great acclaim. But if our defense messed up, we would hear from Forrest in a hot second. And also, to his credit, when we had great games, that would be another time that Forrest would come to us. But he really earned all the respect that he received. All the players loved him. He came to my my wedding, which I got married June 6th, 1981, and didn't take a honeymoon. And Forrest and almost all of the players were there. And we went to Super Bowl 16 that year. And, I don't think that's not a coincidence, I remember Barbara being there, all the other coaches, really, it's sort of fun time before we started the campaign because we went to training camp less than a month after that.
We have a question from Kevin watching on YouTube about the book. He's wondering if there's going to be an audio version of the book in the works.
There is a audio version. It's actually going to be spoken by a Myron Willis, who is a earphone award winner as well. And in Cincinnati, for instance, Smith and Hannon will be partnering with Bookstore One here in Sarasota for anyone that possibly want autographed copies of a book. If you want an autographed copy, the easiest way is to call Bookstore One in Sarasota. I'll just throw out that number, 941-365-7900. You can get one autograph. I'll be happy to personalize it. But it will also feature a lot of endorsement. It has an endorsement from Buddy Tevens, who's the head coach of Dartmouth College. It has an endorsement from Anthony Munoz, obviously the only Hall of Fame player in Bengals history, and absolutely deservedly so. The greatest player I practiced against. I'm glad I didn't play against him.
Reg, just to let you know too, we're continuously sharing the link to that bookstore in Sarasota for you as well. Plus, we're popping up the number for everybody to reach out to as well. I know we have some more questions in the chat areas as well. I think there's a good one here by Mike Hoffbrook here. If you could pop that one up, I want to hear Reggie's thoughts on this one.
Is it the special memories?
That's it.
Okay, Mike is asking about special memories of Kenny Riley.
Well, here's something very special. I have a lot of memories. I was at his funeral. I had the privilege and honor of reciting Invictus, which was his favorite poem, my favorite poem, and I'll give it to you right quick. But an homage to Ken Riley in my book is that there are 13 chapters in my book. And that's because of number 13, Ken Riley.
That's awesome. Hey, Reg, I just want to let you know, brother, that just gave me goosebumps, man. That's a great tribute right there. That's really cool. So I know we have a few more in here, Jamie. We got a couple more minutes with him, so let's pop on one or two more here. You're on mute, Jamie.
I had a really good one here I wanted to ask. Your most memorable sack. Someone asked about your most memorable sack that you've made.
I'm gonna tell you I have a lot of memorable sacks, but I'll tell you the most unique sack. It is my rookie year. We're playing against the New York Jets, and it is Joe Namath's last game as a New York Jet. And I'm coming off the tackle, and I hit Joe, and we're falling down. And I'm trying, all of a sudden, as we're both going down, I'm trying to get my body off of him so I don't land on him. And as we roll down the run, I say, Mr. Namath, are you okay? That's the only time I had sympathy on an opposing quarterback. I had a lot of respect for Joe Namath because of what he meant to the game in Super Bowl III.
So, Reggie, we talk a lot on this show about a Bengals Ring of Honor. We're obviously, as fans of the Bengals, we're hopeful that this is something that's going to come to fruition. Brian watched it on YouTube as asking, what would inclusion in a Bengals Ring of Honor mean to you?
Oh, it'd be a tremendous honor. I think a Ring of Honor is a bridge between all of the accomplishments of all the players in the past to the players in the locker room now. That you need to have tradition. And obviously being an Ivy Leaguer where you're coming from a school that's been around for centuries after centuries, you can understand tradition, but our tradition has been more almost than we can finish. And so a Ring of Honor is sort of a sense of accomplishment that you can teach the current players in the locker room that they too can achieve. And in the process of achieving a Ring of Honor, of being included in future recognition for the rest of your life of the Bengals, that's something worth striving for, on top of striving to have a winning season, on top of trying to stay healthy, etc.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, Reg, we've got a couple things. Talking to you right now is a special thing for me and all of us that are viewing right now. But I think there's never been a more inspirational story, Reg, with all the things you've gone through physically. I know you had a mild stroke. You had 24 surgeries. You had 3 or 4 knee replacements. Reg, talk about you getting through that and the mentality you have to get through that. And you're here today because you're between the ears, how you fought through that mentally.
Well, that one, you have to believe in yourself, and myself, I believe in God. And I also believe he will not put us through anything more than we're capable. So the more he puts me through, the more it seems to be a blessing. And part of my book, Resilient by Nature, is that as we've overcome obstacles and adversity, we learn from all those things. One of the lessons that is in the book from my father is learn from the mistakes of others because you won't live long enough to make them all yourself. And so for me, communicating optimism about your future is part of staying resilient. And believing in a force greater than yourself is a way to put wind behind your sails when it's a windless day.
Yeah, amen, brother. I get it. reading. I mean, I've seen interviews. I've read a lot of stories about it. Special stuff, man. It's really cool to hear that story, and it's very inspirational to me and many others that have followed you through that. So, Reg, we really respect your time tonight. I wanted to close on one thing here. Your last game as a Cincinnati Bengal was in 1989, and for every diehard Bengal fan, around or not around, will know that game is the 61-7 absolute total blowout. But we want to play a short clip here, Reg, and talk about it a little bit.
Doesn't get much. Maybe threes. He's out close to the 50-yard line. Bring up third down, and the Oilers will need at least 7 as Reggie Williams playing his last home game. The 14-year veteran from Dartmouth. A standout on the field and a leader on and off it.
A great player too, Don. Just a great player. I know that he's having a lot of mixed emotions when it comes down to your last game. And
An emotional moment here a short time ago. Reggie Williams, the 14-year veteran for the Cincinnati Bengals, the outside linebacker, was saluted at halftime. His final home game, and he had some very memorable words.
I want to thank my wife and my 2 boys here for putting up with me, and I want to thank my parents and all my relatives and friends who came here to share in this, which is a really sad day, my last game here at Riverfront. But boy, it feels good to be winning 31-0, low day. So for all of you that have been a part of rooting on this team, there's still hope. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Go Minnesota, beat those Cleveland Browns. Thank you.
So, Reg, look, man, you mean a lot. You're one of the biggest legends ever to play here in Cincinnati. You will always be remembered as one of the legends here. Your career was fun to follow as I continue to grow up. You played a long, long time in Cincinnati. But what did that last game mean to you? Because you guys killed the Oilers that day.
No, I was very proud. I actually had a sack against Warren Moon that day, which was very memorable as well. It's always good to, go out in a prosperous way. Well, the funny thing is that Minnesota did beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then we had our final game of the season. The final game of the NFL season was Monday Night Football, Christmas night, up in Minneapolis against them. And if we won that game, we would have gone to the playoffs. But we ended up losing that game. And I remember Dick LeBeau coming up to my locker after that game, because I had a couple sacks in that game as well. He sort of came up and said, "You sure you want to retire?" Looked at him and said, "Yeah, I'm through." I was in public office, and I had sort of promised that I was going to not put my focus totally on the city of Cincinnati. But if he would have told me, "Oh, by the way, you have 206 games played. All you need is one more game to tie Ken Riley for the most games in Cincinnati Bengals history. And all I need to do is win 2 games. Then I'd have had more games than any other player. I might have come back."
Yeah.
He told me that.
That's great. And it's funny watching that interview. You see Ahmad Rashad, he didn't want to be there. He was cold.
He was cold. Yeah.
And look, Reg, we appreciate your time. It means a lot. And we'll keep posting those links to the book and everything there as well. You guys have anything you guys want to close with Reg on, James or Jamie?
No, we appreciate the time. Again, as Jimmy said, we'll pass the word out about the book. Anything we can do to help in that regard, Reggie, please don't hesitate to ask.
I appreciate being on this show, and thanks for the invitation. I look forward to doing it again.
Who day, Reggie? We'll see you, buddy.
Take
Bye.
care.
Reggie, who day?
Awesome.
Man, I learned stuff the last few days kind of prepping for this, and I'm sure everybody watching right now got to learn some new things about Reggie. Just an absolute wonderful man, great football player, man, for a long time for the Cincinnati Bengals, for sure. So
great stuff. I think we've got Tom here. I know we're going to go a little bit long tonight, so we appreciate everyone.
Tom and Craig in the waiting room. So we're going to bring Tom on for history.
Yeah, let's do the history 101. Guys, we won't be very long on this, but let's do it. Tom, what's up, buddy?
How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, man, running a little long. Sorry about that, bud.
That's okay.
So guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take about 6-7 minutes. We're going to talk about, since opening day is coming up here, Boomer Esiason days away from today, the top 3 home games in Cincinnati Bengal history. And there's a bunch of good ones here, guys. But we're talking about the top 3 home openers in Cincinnati Bengal history. And we got a little clip here. We'll stop after each one, but we're going to go in order from our 3 down to the number 1 game. And Jamie, if you could play the clip there, we're going to talk about the first game, 1974 home opener. There's no volume on it, Jamie.
Browns game goes deeper than just a mythical title. The same man created both these teams, and the Paul Brown influence permeates all from organization to uniform colors. There is also the matter of a divisional title to be contested, and so the Bengals went right to their game breaker, number 85, Isaac Curtis. The spectacular effort was wasted, however, on a Bengal fumble, and the rest of the first half turned into a head-hunting defensive standoff. In the face of hard-hitting give and take, Cincinnati cracked, and 50 yards away, number 14, Ken Anderson, went right back to his main man. Isaac Curtis was ruled out on the 1 and not a second too soon. With 1 pick remaining, the Bengals faced an all-or-nothing proposition. Number 42, Boobie Clark, muscled in, and the game, which had been scoreless 38 seconds before, was now tied 7-7. But Owen Anderson went back to a nearly sure thing. Once again, Isaac Curtis beat the Browns. This time, the half extravaganza was turned in by Lightning Lamar Parrish, number 20, a defensive back and punt returner extraordinaire.
So Tom, what's crazy about this is it's really cool to see, Kenny Anderson to Isaac Curtis and the Lamar Parrish punt return there was just ridiculous. But the Bengals didn't make the playoffs in 1974. Why is this game on our top 3 list?
One, because it kind of showcases all the great players they had in the 70s. A great team defense. It was game 1 of Kenny Anderson's journey to his first passing title. And it showed off Isaac Curtis. And Isaac's entire career, he just torched the Browns. He tortured the Browns. So it was kind of a nutshell of everything that was good in the 70s. Unfortunately, that team was very good. One of the elite teams in the league. They beat the Steelers in late November, and here's a shock. A bunch of guys got hurt in that game. And after that, they really limped to the end. They lost their last 3. Ended up 7-7, but they were in first place at Thanksgiving, and just everybody got hurt that last month of the season, and things fell apart. But this really illustrated how great those teams were in the 70s. It was a flawless game plan that Paul Brown had that day. You saw how well the defense did, and the offense was clicking too. So it just always feels good to beat the Browns.
And it was the second time that Paul Brown's Bengals beat Browns here in Cincinnati, and it was an absolute blowout in that game as well. So that meant a lot to PB for sure.
Always beating the Browns, especially back then.
Yep. So let's move on to our number 2 game on this list here. 1981 opening day.
The Cincinnati Bengals are sporting new stripes this season, but beneath their colorful tiger in the tank exterior lies a down pass from Jim Zorn to number 80, Steve Largent. But just when the Boo Birds were about to cut loose, an unknown third-string signal caller named Turk Schoner took over at quarterback. Never before had the Stanford grad thrown a pass in the NFL. But on this day, his teammates latched on to everything he offered up. Schoner guided the new-look Bengals on 3 separate touchdown drives. And on 7 occasions, he himself carried the football. It was a kind of raw, inspirational performance Bengal fans haven't seen much of in recent seasons, and they liked it a lot.
So Tom, that game, obviously a special year, 1981, but that season didn't start out very well for our Bengals. That first half of that opening day against Seattle, Bengals were down 21-0 at half. They took Ken Anderson out of the game.
Yeah, they had to take Kenny out. He wasn't completing. He threw 2 picks. We found out later that a little of what happened that week, he didn't have all of his preparation. His son, who ended up being fine, had been in the hospital. They weren't exactly sure what was wrong with him. It was kind of a serious situation. So they put Turk in, and actually Turk didn't exactly light it up throwing. He just, when he had to, he completed a pass. He scrambled a lot. That's kind of known as the Turk Schoner game. But if they don't win that game, maybe we don't go to the Super Bowl in 1981. But really the untold story in that game, and it's a shame Reggie's gone, was the defense. After the Seahawks got up 21-0, that was in the first quarter. They didn't score another point. In fact, they never got inside the Bengals 40 the rest of the game.
Yeah, I remember that game like it was yesterday. And our that was the second one, the number 1 game on our clip here is the 1981 opening day, Tom.
With a lot. On opening day, Sam's theory was tested. 4 times the Phoenix Cardinals tried to score from inside the Bengals' 10-yard line. But with the game on the line and the stadium timepiece down to its final ticks, the Bengal defense persevered.
Here we are, right front on this play. Kovacs is back to throw. He's in the ground, throws it away, incomplete. And the ball game is over.
And Tom, I remember that game like it was yesterday too. That was the defense won that game for the boys that day.
Yeah, they were clutch at the end. Yeah, Boomer was efficient. The running game wasn't quite where it was going to be later in the year. But, yeah, the defense tightened down, kept things tight, gave the offense a chance to go down and score a late touchdown. Boomer threw a really clutch, perfect pass to Mike Martin with about 3 minutes to go. And, the Cardinals got down, but it was bend and not break. In fact, on that goal line stand of the 4 plays they had, one of the key plays on it was Jason Buck and Reggie Williams performed a stunt and got in and messed Lomax up. But, there again, they needed that game so much after the year before. 1987 was probably the toughest single year to be a Bengals fan and for the Bengals and the franchise, just how the city felt after the strike. Everybody thought we had a Super Bowl team in 87. Things fell apart. They really needed that win and found a way to get it and just kept on going all the way to Miami.
And that was a really good Phoenix Cardinals team that year as well. So that's great, man. There was so many games we could have chose from, Tom. I mean, I thought we picked 3 good ones there and, kind of tying in our Cincinnati Bengal memorabilia. Again, I had all kinds of things to kind of look at, but I have 3 different media guides. The 1974 media guide, 1981 media guide, and that 1988 Bengals media guide is our Bengals memorabilia for the week. So, brother, thanks again for being part of this, brother. It means a lot, and we will talk again next week, bud.
You guys stay safe.
Hey, Houday, man. We'll see you. Have a good one.
Hopefully, if we do this next year, we do the top 3. Opening game 2020 will be there with Joe Burrow's 5 touchdown passes and a 42-0 rout of the Chargers.
Absolutely. So
I took him in my keeper league. So.
So let's go ahead and close this out, guys. With do we have a winner that we can identify and pull Craig on?
We got to get Craig on here. Oh,
Craig.
There's man.
Hey.
Hold on, let me get rid of the History 101 banner. There he is. Nice view. I like the view in the background there.
Can you see PBS?
Yeah, we can. Yep, the Cincinnati sign.
Hard to see through that cloud of smoke, but it's there.
Some of my neighbors are trying to have the WBM fireworks no matter what. So
we have with us today, this is Craig Johnson. This is Bourbon and Cigars with Craig.
There we go.
We have a cigar or two to give away. Craig,
see my chain here, a little fleur-de-lis. Little Sazerac reminder of New Orleans.
So, Craig, tell us about these cigars you're procured that are the same ones that Joe smoked following the national championship win.
So I went down to Destin to get away from quarantine for a little while to another quarantine, but it was fun. Anyway, the Cigar Factory Social Club has places on Bourbon Street and in Destin. They have 2 locations, and they hand roll their own cigars. And so the story is Joey's father, apparently they're close with the owner of Cigar Factory, and he's huge LSU guy. So these are the cigars that they were smoking. And they're really good Maduros. It's their own leaf, their own roll. And the one in Bourbon Street, they actually roll in front of you. So it's kind of cool if you're ever down in Bourbon Street to stop in there.
All right, good stuff.
Box full. So we're going to give away a 3-pack
tonight.
To the winners.
Nice.
And
give them away, and then they'll be available at the tailgate.
The sold out tailgate. We just want to add that one more time. We appreciate everyone that secured their spot for Sunday, the 13th. Lot will open at 11. We're going to do the show at noon. It is sold out. No walk-ups. Again, we're going to do this safely and have a lot of fun. We heard Dell on a little bit earlier with the 16 lots, and you just may be able to pick up one of those cigars from Craig. But we did a little random draw tonight, throwing the names in a pool from people that commented. And Jeff Snellen is the winner of the 3-pack of cigars, courtesy of our friend Craig. So send us a message. I don't know if you'll be around at the tailgate. If not, we'll get
at the tailgate. I'll send them on out.
Yep, we'll send them on out. So look forward to that. And hopefully next Sunday post-game, about 8 o'clock when we started the show, we'll be smoking a couple of those in celebration of the Bengals being 1-0 on the 2020 season.
Good day.
Good stuff. So real quick, closing out, guys, just the tailgate folks that lock their spots up, there will be an email that goes out later this week, probably midweek, with more details on, hey, how we have to make sure we're doing this correctly, the do's and don'ts as we go down there. And again, no walk-ups. So we'll have an email out to everybody here, probably no later than midweek, on what's going on Sunday for the tailgate. So, guys, that's it from our end, man. We are 7 days away from
countdown begins.
Opening day 2020. Joe Burrow era begins, gentlemen. So we appreciate it, Craig. Thanks, big dog.
Who day,
guys? Who day?
Thanks, Craig.
Everyone, have a good night.
See you guys.
Sunday, 1 and out.